Hello, you beautiful soul. Welcome back to Life Under the Moon, episode 2. Today, we are going to be talking about the most important relationship you will ever have in your entire life. And no, I'm not talking about the soulmate, the twin flame, the one, whatever you might call them, or if you don't believe in that kind of thing. No, I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about the person that you spend every single day of your life with. That person is yourself. So today's podcast is all about how to be single, how to be your own best friend, how to date yourself, and how to enjoy life to the fullest with you, the most important person in your entire life. So first, I want to talk about what it means to be you. What does it mean to be you? Ask yourself that question right now. Who are you? Who do you want to be? Are you who you want to be? Now, I can speak from experience that I thought I was the person that I wanted to be. But after coming out of a difficult situation, I realized that the person that I thought I actually wasn't that person until I became that person. Now, that kind of sounds like a mind twister, but the truth is, sometimes we have to really sit alone, deep in our thoughts, to be able to understand and truly follow who we really are. And I think that's one of the most overlooked topics in our lives, which is our life, who we are as an individual. And that is one of the most important things. That is actually the most important thing, because everything else comes next, right? How can we show up for others if we don't show up for ourselves? How can we do things for others if we're not healthy and well ourselves? That was one of the biggest lessons I began to learn actually when I started college. You need to show up for yourself first before you can show up for others. And I must say, I am guilty of putting other people first, but I am just built that way. My soul is very giving, and I love to give as much as I can to others. And sometimes I forget about myself. So a little bit of a backstory of myself. I have been working from home all by myself for the past 5 years now. And I wouldn't change it for the world. Before you ask the question, no, I've never felt lonely, ever. I actually feel less lonely when I'm by myself than when I'm with certain people. Now, I don't know if you can relate to that feeling, and that would be a different topic that we would discuss, is friends that maybe aren't a good fit for us, that maybe drag us down. But the truth is, the one person that I spend all day with is me. I have spent every single day with myself since I was born, and maybe even beyond that. So today we are going to go inwards within ourselves. And what does that truly mean? Well, it means starting to get to know ourselves. And like I said earlier, I thought I was a person who I thought I was, but as it turns out, I wasn't that person. And what it took for me to get there, well, honestly, was a tough breakup. And after that breakup, I realized who I really was. I think I was depending on other people a lot more than I realized. So being alone and being with yourself, let me stop myself right there. When I say being alone, the truth is, we're never really truly alone. We always have ourselves. And even though we're just one physical human being sitting in a room, we're not alone. Now, whether you are a believer of maybe a higher power, whether it's God or the universe or whatever it is that you may believe in or not believe in, that also fits into the category of us not being alone. Now, if you don't believe in any sort of higher power, then that's okay, because we are never alone. You are not alone, because no matter what, you have your own back. You are exactly where you need to be, because you made the right decisions. And those decisions that you think weren't the right decision, trust me, the ones that don't normally work out in your favor are actually working out in your favor. Now, that is maybe a topic for another day, but I will say this. You are your own best friend. You always have been, and you always will be. Now, I don't want you telling me I don't like myself. What if I don't like myself? What if I am mad at myself that I made mistakes? We all make mistakes. It's a part of being human. It is a gift about being human. We get to learn how to grow from those mistakes. And that is a wonderful thing. From an early age, I always felt like I just wasn't able to maintain a female best friend. It was strange. It was like every time I got close to a female best friend, they would move or switch schools or something would happen. And I would just never have a female best friend. And that's something I've always desired to have. And even to my current age now, which I am 29, I still don't have that female best friend. But what I've learned along the way is that she's been with me all along. It's myself. And like I said, even though I'm just one human being sitting in a room right now, the truth is there's somebody else inside me. It's like a mirror to having myself as my own best friend. It's actually something I always used to say to myself as a child. I wish I could have a best friend who is exactly me. Basically a mirror of myself, a twin. And the truth is that best friend has always been there. That best friend that I've always dreamed of, she was there. She maybe was the one telling me to say that. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy. You know, the stereotype of, oh, you're talking to yourself, you're crazy. Truthfully, I believe talking to yourself is actually a very healthy thing to do. Now, contrary to belief, it's actually quite healthy to do. Talking to yourself allows you to release emotions, almost like a verbal diary, a journal, where you just talk, let it out. One of my best friends and I, what we do is we video chat each other, but not a normal video chat like a voice call. We make little short videos to each other and send them throughout the week. We have been doing this for years since we graduated college, and I still can't believe that we made it this far by doing that and keeping in touch and keeping our relationship strong. But one of the things I've noticed doing this is that sometimes the videos that I make for him, I end up just ranting a lot. And there's about 20 minutes worth of videos that I'm going to send him that I changed my mind. After making those videos for him, I feel so much better for just letting that off my chest. And then you know what usually happens? I don't send him those videos. Sometimes I do, because it's good to be real. But sometimes I don't, because the truth is we all sometimes need to just let it out. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to yourself, I suggest maybe doing something similar, like making a video of yourself talking as if you're going to send it to somebody, but then delete it right after. Or you can keep the video so you can look back and see how far you've grown. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've realized throughout the years and by doing this that it is actually very healthy for me personally to let it out, to just talk. Sometimes it's great to get a second opinion, and sometimes it's great to just not let anybody hear what's going on and just talk it through to yourself, because nobody knows you better than you know yourself. Nobody knows what you've been through. They might see parts of it. They might see bits and pieces of things that you're going through, but nobody truly knows exactly what you've been through than you yourself have been through. Nobody knows how much you've grown. You are the only one that knows exactly how much you've grown. And this is why we are talking about this topic. This is why this is so important. We need to start with ourselves before we can begin anything else, which is why this is perfect for episode 2. So I hope you guys are ready to dive into what we can do to date ourselves and to treat ourselves as though we are truly our own best friend. Another thing I want to mention real quick, and it has to do with the title of this episode, is the most important relationship you will ever have is kind of a twofold question or answer. The number one person is yourself, but if you believe in a higher power, such as God or the universe, I believe that that is tied in to ourselves, meaning that if you believe in that we are spiritual beings, then we're all connected, and we're all connected universally, and we're all connected to the universe or God or whoever you believe in. By saying that, I mean that when we strengthen our connection with the universe or God or whoever it or whatever it is that you believe in, we're also strengthening our connection with our true self. And I don't just mean the one when you look in the mirror, I mean the one inside that nobody can see, and yet that's the one that everybody can see. All right, so let's dig into what it means to be our own best friend, or how to be single. How to be our own best friend, tip number 1. Buy yourself gifts. I have here in my notes that it says my cat caught me a bird story, and I don't exactly remember what the point I wanted to get across with that was, but I think the point was that it felt so good that she, even though she's a completely different creature, she felt the need to do something extra for me, to give me a gift, whether I enjoyed that dead bird or not. Actually, no, it was alive. It was alive, so I didn't have to worry about it. She gave me a bird, and that honestly meant the whole world to me, because it was the thought that matters. She thought that that was something that I would really like. She thought that it would make me happy. Isn't that the whole reason why we give other people in our lives gifts? I know that when I receive a gift, regardless of what it is, I'm so beyond grateful for it, because the person took the time to not only look for the gift and find the perfect gift for me or something that reminded them of myself, but they went ahead and did something extra special for me. Whether it's something really small, like just treating yourself to a coffee or a tea throughout the day when you've had like a long, stressful day, or maybe it's just been a really good day and you just want to treat yourself. I think that's very, very important. Maybe you've been saving your money for quite some time and you haven't purchased anything for yourself in a while. If you've ever been in a relationship where you feel like there's a lacking in regards to like not necessarily gift giving, but kind of spreading the love. But what I mean by that is like going the extra mile and showing somebody that you care. I know that money can be tight right now for a lot of people, so I understand that gifts aren't necessarily an option. But what I mean by that is like even going to the dollar store and getting a card for $1 and writing something very sweet in it to show either your significant other or a friend that. But my point is that we're doing this for ourselves. And it just feels so good when other people do that for us. So let's do that to ourselves. Go to the dollar store, pick out those cards that you like best. Have you ever been to the store where you see a card and you're like, oh, that is so me? But like, you're not going to buy yourself a card, right? How cool would it be to write yourself little love notes and congratulation cards and things along the years and put them in a little box, and one day look back and read them? How special would that be? Because I know in my life, I've gone through quite a few accomplishments that not a lot of people know about, and I don't get recognition. I'm not doing it for recognition, but of course I'm human and it would feel good to be recognized. So why not buy myself cards and say for my business anniversary to buy myself a 5-year business anniversary card and write something really special in it. And then on my 10-year business anniversary, I can look back and see how far I've come. Things like that, I believe, are very, very special. So buy yourself gifts. That is number 1. Whether it's big or small, we all know it feels amazing when other people do it to ourselves. So let's treat ourselves. The reason why I wrote down these questions actually and how I came up with the questions was I basically imagined what I was lacking in my life, or imagining my life as being single and what I wish I could have. So for this next question, my question was, well, who will I go hiking with or travel with me? Those of you who may not know me yet, I am a huge explorer. And by that, I mean, I love just going into my backyard in the forest and just cutting through the bush, no trail, no nothing, and finding the most beautiful views where probably no human has ever set foot on. I love just exploring the planet. I don't have a lot of money right now in my life, so I don't get to necessarily travel the world. I do get to see my backyard and what that entails, and I've found some pretty beautiful places. Even the same places over the years can look different. Maybe one night I'll go outside and see the northern lights, but they weren't there the night before. It's things like that that really bring my soul soaring. My question for the who will go hiking with me or travel with me, that can kind of be a tricky one, because I feel like there are some places that I probably shouldn't travel alone. I think that is a question that would maybe have a little bit more to dig deep into, but for the most part, I think I would just start going hiking alone more and more and try to get more comfortable with it, as well as maybe bringing protection like bear spray or something, in case I ran into any sort of wildlife danger. I think it's important to just go out of your comfort zone and do things that you think you need somebody else there for, but you don't. But please keep in mind to don't do anything dangerous. Just always follow your instinct. Number 3, who will cook for me? Cook for yourself. Take yourself out. Make fancy meals for yourself. Put that little basil on top that they do in the restaurant just to make yourself feel good. Dress you up, go out, take yourself to a restaurant, and eat alone. You would be so surprised how many people you could meet just by doing that, just by being alone. It is so crazy. And even if you're not going out to meet anybody, it is such a cool experience to just simply be with yourself. I know it sounds scary, but it is a very magical feeling. Next question. Who will surprise me? Who will pick me flowers from the wild or buy me flowers? Why don't you buy yourself flowers? Why don't you go for a walk and pick yourself some wild flowers that you see on the side of the trail or in your front yard and just make yourself a beautiful bouquet? I know it's not the same as somebody surprising you with flowers. I do understand that. But if you don't have anyone in your life, this is a great thing to do to make you smile. And every time you see that bouquet sitting on your counter or your desk or wherever you put it, beside your bed, just remember that the person who picked you those flowers really loves and cares about you, and that's yourself. Another thing you can do is list things that you would love as a surprise or things you wish your significant other would do, and then do those things yourself. So right now, write 5 things down that you think you need in your relationship, whether you are with someone or without somebody. What's something that you feel like is lacking in your personal life? And you don't have to show anybody this list. It's just for you and yourself, your own best friend, and take a look and read it and see if there's anything that you can do on that list that you can give yourself. Who will tell me they love me and how much I mean to them? Well, as I kind of said about the card idea, you can tell yourself how much you love and care about yourself and how proud you are of yourself as much as you want. And I know you will never get tired of it. I know I don't. You can either look in the mirror and say it, or you could just say it in your head, or you could just sit on the couch and imagine you multiplied right beside you, sitting one by one. I know this sounds crazy, but trust me, imagining that your own best friend, your own self is right there with you can strengthen your bond, your relationship with yourself more times than you can count. Who will help me finish the house? Okay, this question is sort of personal because I am building a house currently. As some of you may know, I'm building a tiny house on wheels. And I want to say I have no idea what I'm doing. And to be honest, there's times when I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. But the biggest thing is I always had somebody to depend on to get the house done with me. And I noticed that when that person left, I really depended on them very heavily. And I realized that over time, I was actually very capable of doing the things that I never even dreamed of being capable of. One of those examples would be seeing countertops being built and then deciding to just build my own counters and countertops and cupboards all by myself. And that's something that I never thought that I would do. And it showed me this amazing strength that I had inside of me that I just didn't even know was possible. You would be surprised the things that you do and realize that you're capable of all on your own. It is very magical and it has changed my life. I feel like I am capable of absolutely anything And that is a huge power that I have given myself just by becoming my own best friend, by becoming my own partner in this house construction. I'm sure you can apply that lesson to many different areas of your life. Question number 7. What if I get lonely? Well, I could imagine that being by yourself all day, especially if you work from home like I do, could get fairly lonely, but I would recommend maybe getting a pet if that's something that you can do. I know that my cat Cicely has been more than a pet or a cat. I don't even consider her as a pet. I consider her as an equal, and she has made my life better than I could ever imagine. And for those of you who have a pet and maybe understand what I mean by that, I'm sure that you could second that that is a great idea. Just because they're different creatures or are covered in fur, it doesn't mean that they don't understand you. I could get into major details about situations where my cat has sensed things or known things before I did, before they even happened, or could sense a text coming in before my phone rang. Things like that. They're smarter than we know. So getting a pet, I could guarantee you, would chop that loneliness in half at least. Who will support and encourage me when I'm down? Well, you will. If you have maybe a list of things that you want to tell yourself when you're down, pre-write them ahead of time. The next question we have is, who will treat me like a queen or king, depending on what you feel like? Yourself. That's kind of a big question because it's like, what makes you feel like a queen and the king that you really truly are? But that's something that only you can decide for yourself, and that's something that only you know exactly what you want and need. So this is why treating yourself as your own best friend is so great for your health and wellness and well-being, because you are about to make yourself happy in every category of your life, and nobody else can do that for you except yourself. So why not start now? Why not start today? Okay, how about this? Family, marriage. Have a lot of you actually stopped and asked yourself, is that really truly what I want? The other day I came across an old diary and I forgot I had it, and I was writing in it and saying how excited I was for marriage and kids, and reading it was making me cringe because that's not something I've ever wanted in my life. It's just something that society told me I wanted, and growing up realizing that that's not what I wanted was one of the most biggest realizations of my life. So I bet a lot of you haven't stopped to ask yourself that same question. Is that life really truly what I want? And if the answer is no, it's okay. Everything can change, and everything is the right way to do it as long as it's true to what you want and true to your heart and true to your soul. You don't have to feel pressured to be like everybody else. That's just not what we're here on earth to do. Okay, this next one I wrote down. I will miss somebody knowing me better than I know myself. My answer to that is, then get to know yourself better. Meditate. Spend some time alone. Go out in nature. Be quiet. Silent. Put your phone down. And just imagine that you are the only person standing there on the planet. And think about what that really truly means for you. I'll let you figure out that one for yourself. But next time you're out in nature, go try it. It is very magical and eye-opening. What will I do with all of my time? Well, for me personally, all I do is work. I make money, I work out, I eat better, I eat what I want and when I want. I don't have to depend on somebody else's schedule or what somebody else wants to eat. Another thing I wanted to say, which I touched on earlier, is to go out of your comfort zone and trust the universe. Because remember what I said. You are never truly alone, ever. So don't ever feel like you are. Even in those moments when you're down and you do feel alone, remember that it's not just you, there's real you inside of you. The one that nobody can see and the one that everyone can see. This is a tip that I think a lot of people would find very comforting. Find strength in something, whether that be a symbol, an animal. For me, it's being connected to the north or the universe. Attach yourself to something that makes you feel strong, something that makes you feel you, whole, connected. Now, when I look at certain pictures on, say, Pinterest or art galleries and they just make me feel something like I'm home. Those are the kinds of moments that I'm talking about. The ones that make you feel like you are truly aligned with your true self. Find that and stick to it. Maybe it's a favorite color. Maybe that color defines you. Stay true to yourself, no matter what. Okay, how about this one? Who will take pictures of me, or pictures when I least expect them? Being natural in my natural habitat. Those were my favorite things. Allowing myself to do those kinds of things for me has really changed the way I present myself. It gives you a different perspective of trying new things. You won't believe the magic that can come from that. Okay, so I have a note here that says, we weren't born with a twin. We weren't born with somebody attached to us. We were born as an individual, and we were born to be our own selves. So don't ever forget that there's only one of you. Only one. Just you. And think about how special that is. All of the tiny little things that make you so unique as a human being, as a spiritual being, as this beautiful soul on earth. That is what makes this place so much better to live in. You being authentic, following your heart and your soul's desires. That is what we need more of. No one can lie to you, You're not gonna lie to yourself, and you can deeply and fully trust yourself because you have the answers right there. Because you are you. That's kind of a nice thing. You don't have to be deceiving. You don't have to feel betrayed. You are always protected. And that's something to be really proud of. You're not relying on someone else to come up with ideas or make decisions. You're forced to do it on your own, and that can make you think in a more creative way. And that kind of comes back to the whole designing cabinets, when I did not think that that was something I would ever do or want to do. But once I did it, I realized I was really good at it. Before I realized I could do things on my own, I would have never known that. And that makes me really proud. I hope you guys could take away a little bit of something from this episode. I want everybody to know what's inside of you is the most important part. As long as you stay true to yourself, that inner voice, that inner calling, whatever you call it, we all have it. Because we're all alive. We're all here for some purpose in one way or another. So don't forget who you truly are. And you can always come back to that. You may stray off a little bit, and that's good. That's fine. Because it helps show you what doesn't feel right. So always come back to that true, natural feeling of who you are and what's right for you. I wanted to start this podcast off by talking about how important it is to be your own best friend, yourself alone. Whether, like I said, whether you're in a relationship or you're not, it is so important to put yourself first. Because before we can work on any of the other episodes, all of the chapters and exciting things that we're going to learn together, the number one thing is starting with the base. Think of a pyramid, and we're at the top, and there are 1,000 different strings below us, and those strings have strings, and those strings have strings, and that's all the types of topics we can discuss. But number one is it all comes back to you, just us at the top, the top string, holding all the others. So if we work on ourselves and make sure that we know ourselves and understand who we are and work on that, then everything else in our life will have a domino effect of ease and carefree and perfection. Everything as it should be. Okay, we are nearing the end of the episode where we are going to just lightly brush on the full moon and what this means for us today. So today's full moon is in Virgo. And the theme of this full moon is, I would say coincidentally, but I believe it was fate, giving off energies of being true to ourselves. Now, if you don't believe me, look it up. It is said that this full moon brings energy of within. It's great for working on ourselves, especially the details and the little things in life that make a big impact. So what I want us all to do with this full moon and for the next 2 weeks, using this energy from the full moon, I want us to focus on one thing only, and that is our homework. And what that thing is you. And every single one of our assignments, you and the next person and the next person listening to this will have the same yet different homework because we're all different. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Today was all about getting to know ourselves and why it's important to get to know ourselves. And some of the things you might have questions about, like, well, I'm going to miss doing things with my friends or going shopping or going to the restaurant. Just remember, you can do those things with yourself, with that person, with your twin inside of you. And that makes it even more special sometimes. So I want us all for the next 2 weeks to practice being one with ourselves, because remember, we are never, ever truly alone. Well, everyone, I will see you in our next podcast in 2 weeks on the new moon. So make sure you focus on getting to know yourself, and I can't wait to see what next episode brings us. I am so excited to make this world a better place with you, because when we make ourselves better, the whole world becomes better as a collective. And this is the whole point of this podcast. And I hope you guys are excited as I am to really just enjoy life together. Today we are taking one viewer's manifest. We're going to wish for their dream or desire to come true. Now, since I didn't have any requests from our intro, I am going to pick 2 people, actually, because I know for a fact that they were listening to my intro. I actually know that there were 3 people that listened. One person is named Ryan. One person is named Robert. And the other person watches, I think, all of my Sims videos. And you know who you are. So I'm going to manifest for all 3 of you. What I'm manifesting for you guys for the next 2 weeks is the most beneficial 2 weeks of getting to know yourself. To find something so deep within that you love so deeply, and it will change you in the most beautiful way, and you can carry on with it for the rest of your life. And I wish all 3 of you so much love and so much light. I wish that all of your dreams will come true. So for those 3 listeners, that is my wish for you. And I want all of you listening to wish these 3 people the most beautiful intentions, to also wish for their dreams to come true, to help them grow as a person, to wish them good wishes. For the next episode, I would love to hear one of your guys' wishes and dreams and desires. So let me know what you want all of us to manifest and really believe and wish for you. I will pick one of you guys. We will start making all of our dreams come true together. This was so much fun, and I can't wait to see you guys next episode. Take care, everybody, and let's go manifest our life under the moon.